Breathtaking views, Soviet-style ranges, extreme violence, fine dining. This is ECQC 4 Police, Anchorage, Alaska.
Real-world assaults happen is somebody ambushes somebody else. The initiative, good guy, bad guy, is always unequal. Somebody's always back on their heels, okay?
It's a long trek to get to Alaska from Florida or Mississippi. The trip was mostly uneventful, except for a really long layover in Seattle, where I did see a male bathroom with a tampon dispensary. That was kind of weird. And I saw a really surprising rally in Pennsylvania while I was eating food in the Delta Lounge. Trump was up, there was a loud crack, I saw him drop to the ground. At first I thought it was fireworks, but we all know what actually happened now. Finally made it to Alaska, met up with Craig, grabbed the rental, and we went to the Airbnb. It was a small, cozy house, perfect for what we needed that week. Since we had some free time, I immediately did a search for a jiu-jitsu gym and found a place with open mats so I could get in some rolls. I just got done rolling at Anchorage Jiu-Jitsu. I did about 2 hours worth of rolling. I rolled with everyone that was willing to roll with me. 5-minute rounds, 1 minute rest, just one after another. They let me borrow a gi. It was a good time. And now I am at this great Alaskan staple known as CARS, C-A-R-R-S or something. Getting some electrolytes and tinfoil so I can tape off my windows and make them blacked out like a meth house so I can sleep because the sun doesn't set here. We were able to cover up the windows with the tinfoil, so our Airbnb looked exactly like a meth house from San Diego. And Craig told me a not safe for YouTube story about Scotty and Kevin Spacey.
That's Scotty.
I just
Scotty worked on a House of Cards, and I guess Kevin Spacey was one of the executive producers of Captain Phillips, which is where he met Scotty. And after meeting Scotty, he invited Scotty and Dale, not only to be on House of Cards as Secret Service members, but also to stay in his house, which Dale did. Scotty says he did.
We then ate dinner at a strip mall restaurant, which is a pretty popular thing apparently in Anchorage. We got inside, the place was completely empty, and they told us, I don't know if we can seat you. And we thought, what the fuck? We want to eat, there's no one here. They sat us down, and within about 5 minutes, the place was completely packed, and for good reason. The food was unbelievably good, and it was a hint at the level of dining we were going to experience during our time in Alaska. Every single place that we ate at was unbelievably good. This is day 2 in Alaska, and it's not raining, and it looks pretty nice out, so we're going to try to take a 2-hour trip down south from Anchorage to some unknown town that I never heard of, and see if we can get some good views and maybe some pictures of the knives and stuff. The drive to Seward normally takes about 2 hours according to Google Maps, but we kept stopping to view this scenery. There were stunning views in every direction. The camera doesn't do it justice, at least not with my amateur cell phone skills. I can't describe the beauty of this place. Alaska in the summertime is definitely one of America's gems. Watch out for the safety bears.
Safety bears. That's a good shot.
It's crazy, the grass, the distinction between the grass and the trees is so striking, but the camera doesn't. Yeah. We took a short detour on our way to Seward, trying to find some nice views of the Portage Glacier. We are right near the Portage Glacier, or Portage Glacier, I don't know how you say it, but check this. A wild Craig Douglas peeing in the forest, right next to, at the base of the glacier. Trying to get a good view of it. The camera can't do it justice. It is a unbelievable blue gem. At the extreme base of the glacier is a large lake. We were able to stop, take some videos of the recently released barracuda, snapped a few more pictures, then continued down the road looking for an opening through the trees where we might be able to get a glimpse of the blue ice. We slowed down to get a picture of this glacier, and then a car came up behind us. We don't want to be rude, so we moved. Motherfuckers. And we come back, and they were doing the same thing, out of their car taking pictures. And then we get out, we start taking pictures, and they recognized who we were.
Like, hey, I know you guys.
You do the
like,
car
oh,
fighting
shit.
and the knives and stuff.
Yeah. Middle of nowhere. You know your social media's working when you get ID'd, Shiv'd in the wilds of Alaska
Next to Portage Glacier.
next to the Portage Glacier on the Seward Highway between Anchorage and fucking Seward.
We continued making it to Seward, did the tourist thing, got some gifts to bring back home, ate lunch, and then headed back to Anchorage. Every 10 minutes, it's like a postcard view. And this one's no different. Huh? While getting gas on the way home, we found some really interesting Alaska candy.
What is this?
What's it called?
We have
Road? Idaho Spud.
We have a Cherry Mountain, Rocky Road Original, and an Idaho Spud. What the fuck this is? You don't have shit like this in lower 48. What is it? The program.
How is the Idaho Spud?
It's got some kind of chocolatey marshmallow shit. But when you open it, it's covered with a coconut. Oh, fuck. I guess that's what it is. It tastes like coconut. It's kind of coconutty.
We made it back to the Airbnb around 7 at night. It was still completely bright outside because it doesn't get dark this time of the year. Went to bed, ready for day 1 of the course.
Getting ready to start the live fire. This range is very Soviet looking.
This was a really large class. I think we had 27 cops. Thankfully, the weather was in our favor, just sprinkling a small amount. It was cold for me, but at least it wasn't actually freezing because this is their summer, so that was pretty nice. We completed the live fire on what looked like a Soviet-Russian range, then moved to their training center, which I believe it used to be a Macy's or some sort of department store that closed down, was adopted by the department, and later turned into their training center. We spend the next 6 hours together developing a base of and strategy for using wrestling in a weapons-based environment, and we give them all the principles to successfully achieving in-fight weapons access before moving on to our first evolution of the course. We explained during the instructions of the evolution, this threat has met the threshold for lethal force, removing that decision-making portion from the problem. This is an opportunity for them to work the curriculum they've been developing over the past 6 hours under legitimate pressure and resistance to see if it actually works. Evolutions are the validation exercise of the day's training. What keeps it safe under these higher levels of pressure is proper drill construction and instruction and proper pairing. That's our responsibility to the course. Everyone takes a turn in the hole. We do a debrief on the evolutions, a summary of the day's training, and what to expect for tomorrow before finding some dinner and going to bed. Technical warm-up. This is more like a flow roll. It's extremely slow, Tai Chi glacially slow. I try to get everyone to talk out loud every single step that they do so that they can recall it afterwards. We spend a large part of day 2 focused on communication. More than any other skill, a cop must be able to talk to people. We try to provide a base template for precise, gradated language that they can adopt to fit their specific assignment. That avoids confusion and tragedy from ambiguous words. After lunch, we work on knife defense, culminating in another evolution. During the second evolution, the officer must manage the unknown field contact using communication. The bad guy will attempt to talk their way into a sucker punch and then access a knife once it becomes physical. Again, they're told the threshold for lethal force has been met as a way to test the curriculum, understanding not all scenarios warrant lethal response. Day 3 training in the Soviet Union. I think they figured out we don't carry the hammer and sickle. They know. Represent. Day 3 is all about groundwork. Get back to your feet, a weapon, or something in between the two. We're not going to stay on the ground playing jujitsu. We're focused primarily on officer survival during this course, so though you can use the grounded techniques for arrest and control, it's not what we're going to be drilling during this day. We have an extremely simple and effective ground curriculum delivered in a short amount of time that provides repeatable, positive results from even the most inexperienced person. Final evolution of the course, you've been knocked to the ground, wedged into a corner with a puncher looming overhead waiting to give you a mauling. When we say go, you got 6 seconds to solve the problem before a second guy armed with a knife is introduced. One of the most common comments that we get in our Instagram feed is, "That guy would have been dead, why didn't you stop?" Well, we didn't stop because there was still more training value to be extracted from the experience. We'll stop it when training value has ceased and we don't think there's any reason to keep going. Another reason, if you look at video of people being attacked, oftentimes whether they're getting shot or stabbed, they still continue to fight for a lot longer than you would expect. So don't just pew and think that your problem is solved. If it finishes them, cool, but that shouldn't be your expectation. If you're close enough to touch them or they're close enough to touch you, you think it would be hard to miss, but it happens every weekend. After finishing up the final day of the course, we went out and found the best restaurant we could in Anchorage.
Nice place. Yeah, Band-Aid. Here we are after class in the nicest restaurant in Anchorage. Both wearing the same t-shirt. Lovely view of Alaska. You know, probably have a $150 prefix menu. Looking like a couple of scumbags.
How retarded.
While dressed like scumbags and still covered in sweat, we found our way to a fine dining joint at the top of a fancy hotel. We got rabbit soup, oysters, a half pound of king crab, some gorgeous top floor views, great food. I don't think there's a better way to end the course. The next morning, we got up early, went to the airport, returned the rental, and started our long trip home. Our flights were severely delayed because this happened to be the weekend Cloudflare crashed. That disrupted thousands of flights. We saw one lady crying after missing her own wedding. It was a real nightmare. But we eventually made it back home and got ready for our next trip. And that's it for Alaska. It was an awesome trip, a great course. Like, subscribe, and if there's something you want to know more about, let us know in the comments.